the United States were the ones who were bringing peace, when these are the motherfuckers that are bringing death and destruction all over the world. They fearmonger China like China is this big bad monster, this demonic country, when China is doing nothing but building roads and infrastructure and ports all around the frickin' world. And the United States is threatened by that. Why? Because it's losing its power and influence, especially in this region. Your honor is being mistreated, which is one of the things that motivates us in the military. Honor. Don't you think that you're sending him to his death as cannon fodder to a senseless war that does not belong to you, that is alien to you? There is no war yet, but if you produce it, it doesn't make sense for you. Yo. Wow, you actually have the Venezuelan freaking commanders sending threats out to the United States. This was not like a message of capitulation. This was like, if you send your U.S. soldiers here, we're gonna kill them and send them back to you in body bags. So here's a reason why China, Russia, and Iran is itching to get in this war with the United States, because for the first time ever in history, the United States enemies has the ability to touch it. You see this right here? This map on the screen? Distance from Caracas to Washington is not too far for Iranian technology. Oh, and out yesterday, Russia revealed a nuclear-powered nuclear missile. A missile that can fly for months. Ooh, I gotta show you all this fucking video. Hold on a second. This is actually some stuff you've never seen before, most likely. Let's see if they have a video about it. It's called Skyfall. Skyfall. Yeah, so Russia has a new missile out called Skyfall. So check this out. NATO calls it Skyfall. Panicking Western experts call it a flying Chernobyl. Listen to me and listen to me again. Russia has developed a nuclear-powered missile. Fuck my ass. A missile that is capable. All right, so this actually is the most powerful weapon on the planet now when it comes to missiles. It's a nuclear-powered nuclear weapon. It's not powered by the traditional gases, like whatever gases they use, hydrogen powered or whatever. It's powered by nuclear power, meaning it can go up in the air and fly indefinitely. This is actually one of the features of the missile. It can actually be launched and circle an area indefinitely. It's called what's the word they use? Terracing. I forgot the word. Something with a T. When you trespass, loitering. Yeah, loitering. It has this feature called loitering, where it can circle a target or hover over a target undetected. Once again, this missile is undetected. It can circle a target for months, undetected, and land whenever it is told to. So NATO is actually losing their shit over this. So this basically takes away the first strike ability of the United States. So one of the reasons why the United States is encroaching so close to Russia is because they want to be able to do a first strike, meaning like the closer they are to Russia, the less time Russia has to respond to a nuclear attack from NATO. That's why they're inching closer and closer and closer so that they can cut that alert time out. With this, in addition to the weapon systems, to the defensive systems that's inside of Russia, Russia has something called a dead man switch, where if, let's say, the United States did a first strike on Russia and it leveled Russia, Russia has sensors all over the country to detect nuclear explosions, and once detected, that system will automatically launch all of its nuclear weapons at the designated target. So every NATO country has nuclear bases on it, or NATO bases on it. Each of these are programmed for a nuclear missile. So now with this weapon here, this makes that other system, the land-based detection system that Russia has, because Ukraine has actually been firing fucking missiles at the radar stations that Russia has to protect it against a nuclear weapon explosion. So Ukraine has been doing that. So now with this weapon here, this basically makes the land-based system obsolete. So Russia could, let's say, launch this missile in the air today and just have it circle wherever it wants to in the world. This missile can reach anywhere in the world because it has this loitering capability where it can just fly for months. It's not powered by gas, it's powered by nuclear fusion. I launched I watched a presentation on this morning with the loitering capability. Actually, I'll play that video for you too. And the freaking missile moves. It's guided. It does all this stupid shit. $14,000 flight test, 15-hour duration, capable of more. Did you hear that? A freaking missile that flies for 15 hours. What the frig? My God. Russia not playing around. So right now, I think this was revealed 2 days ago. NATO is losing their shit over this because all of their countries are now at risk. You have a weapon that's undetectable that can loiter a country for months and land when told to. What's this?
Russia has taken a step towards deploying its nuclear-powered Burevestnik cruise missile, President Vladimir Putin said in remarks published by the Kremlin on Sunday. It comes after successful tests of the nuclear-capable weapon, according to Moscow, which says it can pierce any current or future anti-missile defense. Russian officials say it has an almost unlimited range and unpredictable flight path. In video released on Sunday of a military meeting, Top General Valery Gerasimov told Putin that the Burevestnik traveled 8,700 miles and was in the air for about 15 hours when it was tested on October 21st. While Putin stressed the need to understand how to class the weapon and prepare infrastructure for deploying the missile. Satellite images in August showed activity at a Russian nuclear test site. Analysts at the time said Moscow appeared to be preparing to test its new nuclear-armed and powered missile. Since first announcing the Burevestnik in 2018, Putin has framed the weapon's development as a
yes, I did hear about this missile. Yes, Russia did announce that they had these missiles in 2018, but it was a fucking failure back then. Because this is a nuclear-powered missile, what happens is when the shit launched, it was leaking freaking radiation behind it. And so the first test of this missile failed. I remember hearing about this in 2018. I thought this was dead.
Moves by the United States,
They
such as
fucking did it.
Washington's 2001 unilateral withdrawal from the 1972 Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty and the expansion of Nato. The test, coupled with a nuclear drill last week, underscores Putin's defiance against Western pressure over its war in Ukraine, while US President Donald Trump has taken a tougher stance against Russia to push for a ceasefire. Combined, Russia and the US have about 87% of the global inventory of nuclear weapons, according to the Federation of American Scientists.
Mother ass. So now Russia has 2 weapons that the United States does not have. The first ever in history nuclear-powered missile and also the hypersonics. Holy shit. The United States is no longer a superpower. Calling Russia's nuclear buff. Oh my God. August 1st? No, this is an old post, I think. All right, there's a video I want to show you on this Jackson Hinkle. Oh, you guys need to follow Jackson Hinkle also. There are a few, like if you ever do decide to get on Twitter, one guy you need to follow is called Jackson Hinkle. He's an independent journalist also. He's also communist. You should follow him. You'll learn a lot from him, and I promise you, you will love him. All right, so I'm going to show you guys my YouTube history. Look at all this crap that I listen to. This is nothing but politics in my news feed. All right, pay attention to this video,
discussed
y'all.
the Budapestnik missile back in 2017 for the first time. He mentioned this missile that would be able to be undetectable, nuclear capable, powered by a small nuclear reactor, unable to be stopped by any air defense, and it could fly for months on end and target anywhere in the world and loiter for weeks and months at a time and be, activated by a code sent from Moscow.
All right, did the description that I gave just now anything similar to what this guy said, or did he just do it much better than I did in like 2 seconds?
Everyone said, you're
Fuck.
crazy. That's never going to happen.
I'm going to get better
You're
at this.
lying. You're bluffing. That's a bunch of BS. This is science fiction. Well, reality, I think, just slapped every EU leader, every pundit, and
This
every
is Jackson
Western,
Hinkle.
Military industrial complex CEO and lobbyist in the
Jackson Hinkle was an independent monitor for the Venezuela elections held recently. He actually took his ass over there to Venezuela and was monitoring the Venezuelan elections. He was an international monitor. And he reported back that the elections were fair and sound. And he actually had the ballot, whatever, the tally or whatever. He had all this stuff, and he showed it all to us on his X feed. And the CIA almost tried to kill this guy. They actually tried to kill him, but the Venezuelan military intercepted it and protected him. So which is another thing I'm impressed about. Whatever satellite system that Venezuela is using to protect its border, it's freaking bulletproof. And I'm pretty sure it's done by China. Because every single attack that the United States has launched against Venezuela, CIA, whatever, they get detected somehow.
face, and they never saw it coming. Over the past few weeks, we saw Donald Trump toy around with the idea of sending Tomahawks to Ukraine. Keir Starmer, the Europeans, NATO, they've been actively lobbying to try and get Trump to supply these long-range missiles, which are nuclear capable. The U.S. claimed they got rid of all the nuclear capabilities for the Tomahawk missiles, but I happen to not believe the United States when they tell me they got rid of one of their technologies. I don't know about you, but they claim they got rid of this stuff. Okay, The truth is, if Russia sees a Tomahawk coming towards Moscow or towards wherever in their country, because these are long-range missiles, they do not know if this is a nuclear warhead on the Tomahawk or if it is not. Meaning, Russia would have to defend itself as a nuclear weapon were coming to its territory. Despite that, we are seeing increasing levels of escalatory rhetoric, potentially action coming in particular from the European. Starmer talking about the coalition of the willing. Ukraine's future is our future. What happens in the weeks and months ahead is pivotal for the security of the United Kingdom and our allies. We will provide Ukraine with 5,000 missiles. Okay, these are not long-range missiles, but nonetheless, you can see where this is going. Zelensky also at this meeting, he said, today we agreed to step up in the coming months. Peace is born from pressure on the aggressor. One would have to ask the question, Zelensky, why are you focused on pressuring them through offensive campaigns when you're actively losing more and more of your territory on a daily basis? You're losing the ability to simply provide electricity for your civilians, transportation for your civilians. You get the idea. Their industry is falling apart. They lack the ability to even produce gas now. This is a very sad state of affairs. And instead of selecting the peace option, you have Zelensky saying stuff like this, okay? France has said that they are now considering sending a military contingent of 2,000 soldiers to Ukraine, soldiers from the French Foreign Legion, mainly from Latin American countries. Reports suggest they are already on the border with Ukraine in training. This isn't the first chance of NATO using mercenaries to provoke Russia. In 2022, the Foreign Legion and American mercenaries were also deployed by Ukraine by NATO. We all know how that story went. Now, my favorite story was this from Bild, from Germany. Putin no longer has nuclear bombs. Well, isn't that interesting? Putin no longer has nuclear bombs. Well, today we are learning something very interesting. Russia has unveiled a new missile called the Budovesnik. And this Budovesnik missile is absolutely technologically impressive, to say the least. But Vesnik means storm bringer. Vesnik in Russian means like a messenger, a courier. During the Russian Empire, this is what it translates to. So the direct translation is storm bringer. NATO media, NATO officials, they have referred to this missile as the Skyfall missile, which leads me to the next video where you will get to see this Skyfall missile in action for the first time as it conducted its first successful test. I already showed you and it flew for 15 hours. 15 hours, if you can believe it. And maybe we're not going to play the song here because it'll probably get copyright striked and you might lose access to see this live stream. So we're not going to play the song, but you know the song. You know the song, the Skyfall missile, you know the song. You see the technicians working on this missile. That is the warhead, I guess. So it's a fairly large missile. It's 2 times larger than the Tomahawk cruise missile. Fairly large, not massive, not Sarmat, not Orishnik, but it's fairly large. 2 times larger than the Tomahawk missile and I guess other comparable Tomahawk-sized missiles. So that was the first test, and feature is the most important part of the tech of this missile. Here's a few fast stats for you. So the engine is a mini nuclear reactor. The Budovesnik engine is a mini nuclear reactor. It's much smaller, yet much more powerful than the nuclear reactors that Russia has traditionally used in their submarines. Meaning, this mini nuclear reactor that they've developed has the capability to be used for civilian use, maybe for a small, stealthy submarine that they could produce. And it also has the capability of allowing this Budovesnik missile to not just fly for 15 hours, as it did in its tests, but it could fly for months. You heard that right. This missile that Russia just unveiled could fly for months. And it can avoid pretty much any air defense. Really, yes, any air defense. Nothing can stop this. It can go over the Atlantic, can go over the Indian, can go over the Pacific, can go over the Arctic, can go wherever it wants. Can loiter wherever it wants for however long it pretty much wants. And at a moment's notice, with an activation code that would be sent presumably from Moscow. This missile can lock in on its target and do whatever it needs to do. Because this is a missile that it likely utilizes AI technology, it can maneuver in whatever direction, whatever way it needs to, air defense systems become useless.
Obsolete.
Because you can't have air defense systems that protect from every single angle, every single region of the country and every single angle. I mean, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. It's not possible. You can't protect your whole country from every single angle from a missile that could be fired at a moment's notice from anywhere in the world, because it can fly for months on end. It's impossible. Now, what is important about this for Russia is that the days of Russia needing Cuba, for example, to have a missile threat against the U.S. landmass are over. The days of Russia needing to have, strategic bombers that can reach the U.S. landmass are over. Now you have the Burevestnik missile, which can, if there's high, tense negotiations going on, if Tomahawks are being deployed to Europe and Russia really doesn't like that, and Russia says, hey, let's negotiate you removing those Tomahawks from Europe or from Ukraine. Russia can, this is a stealth missile, by the way.
Russia is now the big dog in the fucking room.
Let's talk now about removing those Tomahawks from
Russia
Ukraine.
Is now
we
the big
fired
dick in the room.
Burevestnik missile 3 days ago.
That's a
and
big
it's
ass
currently
dick.
flying off the coast of New York, far enough to the point where you guys aren't going to be able to find it or hit it. But it's flying somewhere there. When in actuality, it's flying over the Arctic. The U.S. doesn't know that, right? And they say, look, we can hit our activation code at any moment, and that's going to target a U.S. military base in Iraq. Who knows? Whatever it is. U.S. has no idea where it's going to be coming from, no idea when it's going to hit. They have no ability to monitor where this missile is at any given moment. And it could be weeks from now. It could be hours from now. It could be seconds. You get the idea. This is the end-all, be-all to missile systems.
Skyfall.
Okay? And yes, it is nuclear powered. Yes, it carries a massive megaton warhead. And yes, bypasses any missile defense system anywhere. Okay? So the whole talk of the Golden Dome, the Iron Dome, the U.S. creating its own Golden Dome and stuff, I mean, this is out the window, never to be heard from again if the U.S. was not controlled by the military-industrial complex, that is.
In every way possible.
This is,
when it comes to technology, the U.S. is no longer the boss.
This missile, okay? So basically, the whole point of... Russia, the SMO, NATO.
Russia is the big dick in the room now.
And moving further and further east has been the idea that NATO wants long-range missiles and obviously nuclear missiles in these countries as close to Russia as possible. Well, the Burevestnik missile, it basically neutralizes the entire equation right now. Neutralizes the entire equation. The U.S. is still working on producing Tomahawk missiles, by the way. They still haven't figured out how to produce these Tomahawk or these hypersonic missiles. Russia now has whatever this is, Burevestnik, Stormbringer. Okay. Donald Trump responded to the news of this new missile. He said, well, we have the greatest submarine in the world, and we don't need 8,000 kilometers. The United States has a nuclear submarine station near the Russian coast. Washington is not joking about deterrence issues, and Moscow is well aware of that. Hypothetically, this Burevestnik missile also could be particularly useful if a preemptive nuclear strike were to take place on the Russian Federation, because those Burevestniks go up, and even if all of Russia is leveled, these new Stormbringer missiles could be loitering somewhere around the world, and then they could target whatever country was responsible for a preemptive nuclear strike on the Russian Federation. These are also nuclear-capable missiles, by the way, which is Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov said that after the successful test of the Burevestnik missile, everyone has gone quiet. everyone in the West has gone quiet. There's not a lot of talk about these Tomahawks right now. I'll talk about long-range missiles right now. And also, as this is all going on, as Russia unveils this missile, federal agency overseeing U.S. nuclear stockpile will furlough most of its workforce.
Somebody called
Monday,
the United States a superpower earlier.
As you can probably assume,
Yes,
will cause
superpower.
big problems for U.S. nuclear production, nuclear weapon production into the future, because if you have a shutdown of these facilities, it could set weapons deadlines back months, if not years, because safely closing down, facilities like this, and reopening them, it's not a quick task. And obviously there's security implications there. So this is really not looking good for the U.S. No hypersonics yet. We got this problem with the nuclear stuff going on. Russia, on the other hand, has this. And what I'll say is, to everyone who has said for years that Russia's bluffing about this, that, or the other, President Putin discussed the Budavestnik missile back in 2017 for the first time.
He did.
Back in 2017, he mentioned this, missile that would be able to be undetectable, nuclear capable, powered by a small nuclear reactor, unable to be stopped by any air defense.
The test failed
and it could fly for months on end and target anywhere in the world and loiter for weeks and months at a time and be, activated by a code sent from Moscow. Everyone said, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. You are lying. You are bluffing. That's a bunch of BS. This is science fiction. You're not talking about reality. Well, reality, I think, just slapped every EU leader, every pundit, and every Western, military industrial complex CEO and lobbyists in the face, and they never saw it coming.
Ooh, big up to Russia. All right, so how can this affect because now Russia is on the side of Venezuela. So with this weapon, can Russia wave its big dick around and say, hey, we got this weapon, leave Venezuela alone? What are your thoughts, guys? All right, doesn't seem like anybody's going to call in, so I'm going to call it a night. I did you guys 5 hours tonight.